Namaste friends. In this video, we will going to learn TACMAN real-time or quantitative PCR, its method, primer and probe designing and data analysis. Real-time PCR is different from conventional PCR in the sense that here we can monitor the amplification of targeted DNA during the PCR itself, that is in a real-time manner, but not at the end of PCR. TACMAN PCR is more sensitive than CyberGreen PCR because here we are using a sequence-specific TACMAN probe for the signal detection as compared to non-specific DNA binding dye as in the case of CyberGreen PCR. Before running the sample, first the PCR machine is calibrated with different dilutions of known DNA concentration. So first we add different concentration of known DNA template, a pair of single-stranded primer, TACMAN probe, DNTPs, TAC DNA polymerase, magnesium chloride, and reaction buffer. I will discuss the role of each of these components later in the video. After preparing the reaction mixture in a tube, it is mixed by vortexing and flash spin for a few seconds to settle down the content. The settled content in the tube is then placed in a real-time machine having a thermal cycler where temperature cycles at different ranges. Initially, the tube content is heated at 94 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes, and after that, it undergoes 3 phases of temperature change in a cyclic manner. First is at 94 degrees Celsius for 1 minute to denature the template DNA. Second is at 55 degrees Celsius for 1 minute where primer anneals to its target sequence within the template DNA. And third is at 74 degrees Celsius for 2 minutes for the extension of primer or polymerization by TAC DNA polymerase. These steps are repeated multiple times, mostly around 35 to 40 times to finally yield the polymerized DNA. As it is called the real-time PCR, so how we can monitor the amplification in a real-time manner? The answer is the TACMAN probe. This probe contains a fluorophore or reporter at its 5' end and a quencher at its 3' end. And both are present in close proximity to each other. Due to the closeness, quencher molecule quenches or inhibits the fluorescent signal produced by the reporter molecule when excited by the light source of the thermal cycler. The mechanism used by quencher to inhibit the signal is through Foster resonance energy transfer or FRET. During second phase of PCR, when temperature is lowered to 55 degrees Celsius, together with the primer, probe also anneals to the template at its target sequence. But because both reporter and quencher are present in vicinity of each other, no signal is generated by the reporter. But in third phase of PCR, when temperature is again increased to 74 degrees Celsius and TAC DNA polymerase becomes active, and during extending the forward primer, it encounters the annealed probe at desired sequence. Now the 3' to 5' exonuclease activity of DNA polymerase comes into play and removes the 5' reporter from the probe, and thus the inhibitory action of quencher on reporter is also lost. Therefore, now the reporter can start producing fluorescent signal which is recorded by the instrument. So it means that when new DNA molecule is synthesized by TAC polymerase, only then reporter is cleaved and fluorescent signal is produced. Or we can say signal is directly proportional to the amplification. And this amplification is recorded so we can monitor the change in a real-time manner. Here we can see what is happening. After the primers and probe have bind to correct template, TAC polymerase extend the forward primer, and when it reaches the probe, its 5' to 3' exonuclease activity cleaves the reporter, which in turn start producing fluorescent signal for detection. As I said earlier, TACMAN is more specific than CyberGreen real-time PCR because in addition to primer, here probe also binds to the template DNA and imparts higher specificity. That is, Probe will only bind to our target template DNA, but not to any other contaminating DNA if present in the reaction mixture, and will produce signal only when correct template is polymerized by Taq polymerase guided by specific primers. Whereas in case of CyberGreen, we have seen in previous video that CyberGreen dye can bind to any DNA unless it is a double-stranded DNA. So a contaminating DNA can also bind CyberGreen and produce signal, and therefore it lacks specificity, and in this case we need an additional step of melting curve for analysis of correct amplification. Finally, after amplification, the software will generate the amplification plot for our analysis. For calibration, as we can see in this plot, if high DNA concentration is present in our sample, we can detect it at low PCR cycle or low threshold cycle, also called low CT value. And if DNA is diluted or at low concentration, then we have to wait for higher cycle number in order to get the fluorescent signal to be detected, and we get a high CT value. So for quantitative purpose, we have to follow this rule. If we get low CT value in a real-time PCR, it means that sample contains high concentration of DNA, and if we get high CT value, then it means sample contains low amount of DNA. After the instrument is calibrated, we can proceed with our sample. Here also the procedure remains same as we have discussed earlier, except that instead of known DNA, here we will add our sample DNA. As the PCR proceeds, DNA concentration is increased and we start to see fluorescent signal in the computer attached with the PCR machine. Coming to the most important part of PCR, that is primer designing. Correct primer designing is very important for the successful amplification of the desired target sequence. When designing the primers, following points should be considered. I have already covered this point in my previous lectures, so I will not discuss it here again. Designing of probe is equally important for a TaqMan based real-time PCR. First parameter to consider when designing the probe is the melting temperature. TM of probe should be 6 to 10 degree higher than that of TM of primer, because during PCR amplification, first probe should bind to the template DNA before the primer can bind. Because if primer bind prior to the probe, then primer can start synthesis of new DNA by Taq polymerase, leaving the probe behind as such in the solution. If the TM of probe is 10 degree higher than that of primer, then when temperature is lowered from 94 degrees Celsius during the second phase of PCR, probe bind earlier than primers. Let us understand this with an example. If the TM of primer is 55 degrees Celsius and TM of probe is 65 degrees Celsius, then when temperature is lowered from 94 degrees Celsius in the first phase of PCR to 65 degrees Celsius, 50% of the probe will anneal to the template DNA. And when temperature is further lowered to 55 degrees Celsius, then almost all the probe has bound to the template. But now, because 55 degrees Celsius is the TM of primer, so only 50% of the primer will anneal to the template DNA. So what we can see at 55 degrees Celsius, almost all the probe has annealed to the template, whereas only half of the primer has annealed to the template. Next is the length of probe. It should be less than 30 nucleotide, as shorter length will give unstable binding to the template, while there is no need to make the probe longer. GC content of probe should be between 30 to 80%, which is in the normal range. Probe sequence should be searched within the nucleotide database for their similarity, if any, present anywhere in the target DNA. Next is the G exclusion. As I already said, probe have reporter or fluorophore at its 5' end. And it has been observed that when the reporter is cleaved out of the probe by 5' to 3' nuclease activity of Taq polymerase, the 5' G, if present, will also be cleaved together with the reporter molecule and try to quench the fluorescent signal. Therefore, probe should not contain a G at its 5' end. These are the functions of different components of PCR. Here also I have discussed these in my previous videos, so I am leaving it here without discussing again. If you want, you can pause and see these. After amplification, the software will generate the amplification plot like this. So let us analyze this plot one by one. First one is the baseline. It refers to the fluorescent signal level during the early phases of PCR, usually starting 3 to 15 cycles. It can be seen as the background or the noise of the reaction. Second is the threshold. It is the level of signal that is statistically significant over the baseline signal. That is, the threshold distinguishes the amplification signal from the background signal. Or in other words, we can say signal above the background is the threshold. Next is the threshold cycle. The point of amplification which touches the threshold is the threshold cycle. Or in other words, it is the number of cycles required for fluorescent signal to cross the threshold or exceeds the background level. Determination of CT value is the prime objective of the real-time PCR and indicates what concentration of target DNA was present in the sample. As I said earlier, lower the CT value means high concentration of DNA was present in the sample and vice versa. These different lines shows amplification for different samples, and the sample from this yellow line contains the highest concentration of DNA than others. That is how we quantify the DNA. Earlier in this video, I have shown this plot for calibration, and here I want to explain few more things from this plot. Remember, we should analyze this plot for the calibration, not for the sample. First is the correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient tells how strong a relationship is between two variables. In this case, our sample data and the data from standard curve. Higher its value, better is the result. Y-intercept. The point on y-axis or CT value where a slope touches is the y-intercept. It indicates the limit of detection of the reaction. That is, it indicates the number of PCR cycles required for amplification above threshold from just one DNA molecule. Or this real-time PCR machine will take around 45 cycles to amplify one DNA molecule to be significantly detected by the fluorescence. Next is the slope. It is the measure of efficiency of PCR machine, and a value of around minus 3.3 means 100% efficiency. And efficiency is the ability of PCR machine to double the amount of DNA per cycle. As we know from semi-conservative mode of DNA replication, two DNA molecules are formed from one DNA molecule.